Hey there, and welcome again to the Global Self-Love Project. My name is Mark J. Wagner, and my goal is to create a community of happy, healthy people all around the globe full of self-love and kindness. And this project is powered by the Phoenix Rising program, and you will learn more about this as we go. So today we want to talk about how do you identify green and red flags in a relationship and why this can be very important. We all know that relationships can be very beautiful and fulfilling parts in our lives, but they can also cause stress and pain if we don't pay attention to the warning signs. Therefore, it is very essential to actually understand the red flags and the green flags in a relationship so we can be more aware of what's happening and make informed decisions. Red flags are obviously warning signs that something might be wrong in your relationship or that your partner has some issues. And I would like to list a few and really get into some details about those red flags so it becomes more clear to you what I mean. So some red flags to look out for can be emotional and or physical abuse. So if someone constantly like puts you down or makes you feel bad about yourself or does something that is called like love withdrawal, so they only give you love when you behave a certain way and do things for them or whatever, that's emotional abuse. If you experience physical abuse, like they actually really touch you and hit you or whatever, that is something that should never be tolerated ever. Controlling behavior and jealousy. Well, if someone always needs to know where you are and is overly jealous in situations that really don't deserve it, then that's also a big red flag. Dishonesty and betrayal. Well, if you catch someone lying over and over, then I would very much look out for that. And betrayal, I mean, obviously, if someone is like you catch someone with someone else, that's cheating, that's betrayal. Or betrayal can also be when your partner starts talking badly about you behind your back with other people. That's also unacceptable and a big, big red flag. Another big one that I personally very much look out for is the lack of respect for your boundaries. So if you set a boundary and you tell your partner, hey, look, I really don't want you to do this. This is, not okay. I need you to respect that. I cannot have that in my relationship with anybody. And they keep busting that boundary over and over. That is definitely something you would want to not accept and consider possibly ending that relationship because that's a red flag you cannot ever accept, just like the other ones too. Consistent criticism or negativity. When someone constantly criticizes you, you can't do anything right, or they're constantly negative about things that you do or want to do, then that's also a big one. Lack of effort in the relationship. Well, if you are constantly the one who is putting out the love and the attention and constantly you are the one only like making loving gestures toward that person, and you constantly try to increase your your attention towards the person and that person does not reciprocate, that is also a big one. Now that we talked about the red flags, let's talk about some green flags that I think are very important to have in a relationship that we consider healthy. So, some of the common red flags may include mutual respect and understanding. So, when you have mutual respect for each other, that means your communication will be very harmonic and it will always be about finding a solution and not just talking over the problem over and over and over again. And it's also very much about trying to understand the other person's side and not just being fixated on your own. Now, the other one is honesty and open communication. If you cannot be honest with your partner and your partner cannot be honest with you and communicate openly, you have a big problem, because it always boils down to how can you make a decision if you want to be with someone when you're being lied to and you don't even know if the other person is telling you the truth or not. So open and honest communication is another big, big green flag and can really make or break your relationship right there. Support and encouragement. That's one of my favorites, because many people go about in a relationship and they say, yes, oh, I'm going to support you, but when it comes down to it and you really want to do something that you want to do for yourself and you want to you know like just achieve a goal, then all of a sudden they don't anymore. So that's why it's important to look for, is your partner really supportive? Is he or she encouraging you to do that or not? Now, trust and loyalty. Well, that's a big one. So, if you are feeling that you cannot trust your partner or that your partner is not loyal to you, which you can see in very simple little things, when, for example, how do they interact with you and their phone? Are they always hiding their phone? Are they constantly trying to be on their phone only when you're not there? So, and loyalty, it's another one. A loyal person will never talk badly about you behind your back. A loyal person will stand by your side no matter what. And that's another big one, where you can see if your partner is the right partner for you. And if you have that, you are very lucky, because in many relationships, trust is a very rare commodity. Now, effort and willingness to work through issues. That's also a huge one. So if someone that you're with is constantly trying to just brush things under the rug, or when problems come up, they always ready to leave. They're always standing at the door with a bag. Those things are very, very damaging for a relationship. And while you might be able to get past some things, or one of those situations where someone is already out the door, it will damage your trust in the relationship, and if the relationship is actually the right thing for you. Now, shared values and interests, that's also very, very important, because if you can only do things separate from each other and you don't have a similar outlook on life and on your values and the kind of things that you want to follow, like religion is a big one for many people. Another one is hobbies. So while I think it is important to have things that you can do separate from each other, I also think that most of the time you should be more willing to spend time with your partner over spending time alone or with other people. So, that being said, those are green flags you really want to look for. And yes, while you might not have all of them 100% fulfilled, if you do, you're having an absolutely amazingly healthy relationship. And you would never want to let that person go, really. But if you only have like a few of those fulfilled and you have many red flags on the other side, then, well, let's talk about that. Well, it is important to know that just because someone displays a red flag behavior doesn't mean necessarily that they are a bad person. However, it is essential that you recognize these behaviors and consider whether they are a deal breaker for you or not. So, when should you consider to actually getting out of a relationship? Well, if you notice consistent red flag behavior in your relationship, it's definitely essential to consider whether it's a healthy one for you or if it's worth continuing to stay in it. And here are some signs that might show you that it's time to leave the relationship. First one here is if you don't feel safe or respected. Well, if for whatever reason your partner is threatening you with verbally or even physically, or you feel disrespected, like they are not valuing your opinion about things and constantly shooting you down, then that might be a big red flag right there. Or if your partner refuses to acknowledge or work on their problematic behavior. That's very common, for example, with addicts. It doesn't matter what kind of addiction, be it drinking, drugs, gambling, porn, whatever, you name it. If they refuse to acknowledge that they have a problem, and if they refuse to work on their problem, that's also a big one where you already know it's probably going to get worse and you should get out rather sooner than later. If you feel unhappy, unsupported, or unfulfilled, I don't think this one needs a lot of explanation here, because look, if you're not feeling the happiness that you absolutely deserve and should feel in a relationship, then you definitely need to question if this relationship or this person is right for you. Now, or you've tried to work through issues, but they persist. So, also a very common thing for people who eventually decide to get out of a relationship is when they start working on issues with their partner together, but their partner doesn't really do the work. It's just like an alibi. It's like a lip service kind of thing. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna work on it, but ultimately they don't, and those issues keep popping up here and there, and eventually it goes back to normal, like, well, normal, like it used to be. Then another one is if the relationship is causing you a significant amount of stress and anxiety. Well, if you constantly feel unsafe, unloved, unrespected, you constantly feel like you have to walk on eggshells around your partner. You don't want to say the wrong things because you're feeling, just scared to do so. That will cause you a lot of stress and anxiety and can actually turn into a very deep depression if you don't take care of it or if you don't leave the relationship. So I hope this makes sense and gets you a little bit more clarity here why in some cases, especially when you see those things here fulfilled, it's time to really consider to leave the relationship. So now I want to talk about why it is that I'm doing all of this overall, because I feel like my biggest mission in this life is to make people realize how crucial it is to prioritize your self-love and self-worth in any relationship, not just a romantic one. So if you're not being treated with respect, it's essential to really recognize your worth and to consider if the relationship really aligns with your values and your goals and, just about anything that you want to achieve in your life. And if that's not the case, well, then you really need to learn how to do that. And this is what we're going to get into on our next page here. All right, so here are some ways how you can practice self-love and self-worth in relationships. You want to set boundaries and you want to communicate them clearly. You want to prioritize your own needs and interests without being selfish, of course, but it is very important that you stand up for yourself and be assertive. Don't compromise on deal breakers and red flags. If you see those and you really feel like this is not for you, then act on it. Get out. And again, the more you do this, the more your levels of self-love and self-worth will rise. Recognize and celebrate your strength and accomplishments. That is also very important because your subconscious mind will recognize, oh, hey, I'm doing great, I'm awesome. And therefore, your levels will increase. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people. That's like very important to have a tribe that really, helps you either achieve your goals or pushes you forward. And, just it's very empowering to have that. And when you know you're not alone and you have people around you who are supportive, again, it's a boost for those confidence levels and your self-love levels. Also, very important, take time for self-care and self-reflection. When you take time to actually care for yourself, like take yourself out for a nice dinner or for a manicure, pedicure, or for something that you love and enjoy doing, then that will also help you just feel more strength and settled within yourself. Self-reflection is also very important to be like, hey, look, I might still have some areas where I need to do some work on myself, but I also know that I have come a very long way and I can reflect upon myself without, feeling like I'm just this big mess or whatever. You have already achieved a great you know you've come a long way. So that's very, very important. So if you are struggling with self-respect and self-confidence and you would like to learn effective methods to quickly increase those levels, then please check out the Phoenix Rising program, which will teach you exactly that and more. You just go to phoenixrisingprogram.com and you can just see all the different pricing tiers we have. But we set the lowest pricing tier at a very affordable rate because we believe that this knowledge should be available to absolutely every person on the planet. So you can join the Phoenix Rising program today for only $20. Now, don't wait any longer. Take action, claim back your personal power, and stop letting others treat you for less than what you're worth. We're looking forward to seeing you on the other side. Well, now I can only say thank you for being part of the Global Self-Love Project, where we create happier, healthier people all around the world by actually giving them the tools that are necessary to love themselves and respect themselves in a way that they are able to create happier, healthier relationships with the people around them as well. So please share this message and thank you again for being part of it.